Hi guys, welcome back and thank you so much for stopping by. Before I get into this video, I want to take a few moments to apologize to you all. I really feel that I owe you all an apology for taking such an extended break. When I first started the 2016 Tektite Challenge, I did not realize that I had so much clearing to do, that I had a lot of work that I still needed to do on myself. I didn't realize that I had a lot of energy blockages, a lot of healing for myself, and a lot of things that still needed to be released. I am a firm believer that if you are in a position where you're giving people advice, where you're teaching them, where you're healing or being a conduit for healing energy and helping people in that manner, or if just within my intuitive coaching work, that in order for me to best help you, to best be of service to you, I have to be the clearest channel possible. And that means that I have got to make sure that I've released everything that needs to be released. I've completely cleared out my energy, and that I'm just the clearest and best channel for you all, so that I can receive the clearest, the best, and the most helpful information, and also the most helpful means to heal. So with that said, this break has been a much needed break, and during that time I was really able to do a lot of healing and a lot of release work, and I've come back bigger and better for you all. So back to the 2016 Tektite Challenge. The entire experience was completely mind-blowing. I learned so much. I am still learning a lot. I'll pick up the trio every now and then. I stopped working with them altogether probably about, I'd say, 2 months ago. However, there were still a lot of residual effects going on. They were still working with me, although I did not physically have them. So I decided to come back at a point when I could really start getting back into creating content and all of that. So for those of you all who are not familiar, the 2016 challenge with Tektites was a challenge that I started just to really accelerate my spiritual path. I had felt that I had stagnated a bit, and I really wanted to get things going up again, and boy, did I get what I was asking for and more. So the Tektites that I worked with were Moldavite. I also worked with Tibetan Tektite. You see that right there. And I also worked with Libyan Desert Glass, or LDG. So, one of the first things that I experienced, I'm going to go over probably about 5 major things that I experienced. Otherwise, this video would be well over an hour long. So, the first thing that I noticed was that in working with this trio, it really, really works to raise your vibration. That is one of the ways that it puts you on your spiritual path with the force of a hurricane. So it really raises your vibration. Probably within about a few days of working with the trio, I noticed that I was having issues with electronics, which was a huge reason as to why I could not continue creating content with you all, because my vibration was it's still high, but it was at a point where I did not have as much control over it. So I was draining batteries very, very quickly. I had one experience where I was listening to a webinar, had my earbuds in, they were connected to my iPhone, and as they got to one part in the video where they were talking about the importance of vibration, I received an electric shock that went through the earbuds into my eardrums, and it was painful. I'm not going to admit it didn't feel great. I also had issues with the clocks, for example. For example, I'd look at a clock at 5:55, and the clock would not change over to 5:56 for 5 minutes. I also had issues with my computer where it would freeze up, or where the cursor would start moving around on its own. I checked my computer for computer viruses and all of that. Nothing was wrong with it. It's a great computer. I haven't had it for very long. But it really, really does work to raise your vibration, and it does it very, very quickly. Where I kind of went wrong was that I did not properly integrate that new energy that I was getting in, so in turn it manifested as a little bit chaotic when it came to electronics. I also had an experience where I was buying a birthday gift for my sister, and I was in a store, and I felt this energy right by my head. So I looked up as soon as I put my awareness to it and physically thought, that's a fire alarm. All of a sudden the fire alarm went off. And not only did it go off in the building that I was in, it went off in the building next door. Both buildings had to be evacuated, and the fire department had to come and remedy the situation. Another thing that I have noticed is that animals will approach me. I'm talking wild animals. I have a lot of wildlife in my backyard, so for a while I'd walk outside and I'd be surrounded by flocks of birds. I'm not talking about, one or two, three birds. I'm talking about 40 birds, all different types of birds, like robins and cardinals and bluebirds and blue jays, and they just all flock around me. I've also noticed a lot of butterflies approach me as well. I've also had experiences with a deer, which is pretty amazing and very synchronistic, because one of my spirit animals is a deer. My spirit animals are deer, hummingbirds, and butterflies. So I thought that was very, very amazing as well. I also found that my interaction with negative people was very, very minimal. And I am now able to raise the vibration of others in a manner that is very, very comfortable for them. Because I'm at a point now where if your vibration's lower than mine, I'm just not going to lower mine to meet yours, and instead I'll raise yours up in the gentlest way possible, which was a really cool thing that I discovered in working with this trio. I also found that I have the ability to see the truth, and it's backed up by solid evidence. So discernment, the effect that this trio has had on my ability to discern between what is real and what is false has increased 100-fold, to the point where it's backed up by hard, tangible 3D evidence. I can see whether or not people are being honest. And it's the point where I can tell if they're telling a half-truth or what have you. And if they are being a little bit dishonest, then I'm able to receive the details. But at first, I would receive a solid evidence that would pop up. Maybe someone would tell me something, then all of a sudden, out of the blue, someone would call me, and there would be a discrepancy between what they told me. Also, I'll run into people who will physically come and tell me things that may not have matched up with what someone had told me or what they're portraying themselves to be. In my ability to my heightened sense of discernment, along with my heightened sense of discernment, my belief systems have changed drastically, and it was happening so quickly that if I had made the choice to go against what I'd been guided to do and continue to make content, I would have had to come back and issue out apologies, because a lot of the things that I thought to be true, they no longer were when it comes to my current experience. I mean, the belief systems, they changed even more drastically than they did when I first started working with Moldavite. However, it was a much gentler experience, and that you know, there, when you first wake up and you start finding out, you know, what is and what isn't true, it can be a bit shocking, and you can feel a lot of hurt, pain, and resentment. But I did not feel that this time. I was much more accepting of the new truth that I had learned, and I was also I was able to express gratitude for the former belief systems that I had, because I was able to realize that in having those belief systems, I would have never gotten to where I currently am. So I could see how the situation served me. I also found that I was much more sensitive to energy. I can tap into different forms of energy, which is very, very nice. I've also found that I can feel people approaching me well before they're physically close to me, and I can tell who it is. I had instances where there was an individual that I hadn't seen since we were 10 years old, and I hadn't even seen her yet, but I could feel the vibration. I knew exactly who she was. Her face popped right up in my mind's eye, and then all of a sudden, probably about 2 minutes later, she came around the corner, but she was in another room speaking to someone else. So I thought that was very, very interesting, that I can see people and actually pick up on their vibrations, and feel the energy and attach it to a specific person. That was really, really neat. I also found that I could feel entities as well, who were trying to approach me before they even materialized. So that is very, very helpful, because, for example, if it's something that I really don't want to have an interaction with or engage, I can kind of nip it in the bud before it even materializes. And it's gotten to the point that, because my vibration has raised so much, that I no longer even have any experiences with any lower vibration entities at all. The fifth experience that I had was the increase in synchronicity. I mean, it was mind-blowing. I was seeing angel numbers everywhere. 555, 1111, 111, seeing a lot of 888s, 777s, 333s. I was seeing them everywhere like crazy. And the reason that I know that it's some sort of message that I'm supposed to look out for is because I'm able to actually sense it intuitively. I've also been able to find, you know, different spiritual teachers. I believe everything that is in your experience is a spiritual teacher, but I was able to find a spiritual teacher that was, for example, the answer to a question I'd asked my higher self, or a question that I'd asked Source. It was the exact answer that I needed at the exact time. And I also moved through spiritual teachers quite quickly as well. Overall, this experience really, really works so that it puts you on your highest path. It has made it so that I am now able to have a better understanding of what my purpose is here on this planet, where I fit in, and it, like they say, it literally does happen with the force of a hurricane. You learn a lot. There's a lot of learning, and I found that the most important lesson that I learned in working with these three tektites is, the most important thing that I've learned is that you've got to always constantly question your belief systems, because that's the only way that you will learn and continue to grow as an individual. One thing that I forgot to mention is that I feel as though my consciousness has expanded even more than it did when I first started working with Moldavite. I experienced higher levels of consciousness, consciousness beyond Christ consciousness. I experienced God consciousness, and in experiencing that, I was able to, I'm sorry, there's a butterfly in my window. I was able to take the position of the observer once I had God consciousness activated, and look at areas in my life and actually physically see how things have manifested, the mindset that you have to be in. There's a mind state that you need to be in order to consciously manifest. It also brought up a lot of epiphanies and realizations as well. And I'll go into depth about a lot of the things that I experienced and discovered in future videos. But I just want to thank you all for stopping by, and I will without a doubt see you all next week. I hope you all enjoyed your week. I will see you later. Bye.